Hey kids, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We have a really cool telly. It has been Telecaster week or month in 396 Guitars. Let's get to work. I'm going to show you what we have. Client just got this. It is, as you can see, a Vintera II series. This is a MIM made in Mexico, but now they started putting made in Ensenada instead of just made in Mexico, which is, cool. I don't mind Mexican gear. I've said it many times. I have some Mexican necks on at least one of my basses. I've had them on other basses, but sometimes I swap and switch things around. I digress. He wants to do some work to this, and he asked me to go over the instrument. It's brand new to him. In fact, it still has the condom on the pick guard and the sticker. So it says features: vintage style 3-saddle bridge, vintage style early 50s pickups, early 50s thick U-shaped neck. Well, it does have a meaty neck on it, that much I know. He wants to put these pickups in it. These are, according to Fender's marketing, American Vintage 52 Telly set of 2. Well, there's a bridge and a neck. Pretty interesting. He asked me to look in here and see what's going on. I can tell you probably what we're going to find in here is 250K CTS full-size pots and a real 3-way switch. They're not going to, put this kind of guitar out. The Vintera series is usually pretty good instruments, and I can tell you the build quality is really nice on it. He asked me if I thought this was roasted maple. I am not 100% sure. I got to be honest with you. It's got a dark tint to it. It's got a lot of character. Really nice little instrument. I like it. Blonde. I don't know. You wouldn't. Not really a blonde. Maybe a TV yellow sort of thing. I know that's not a Fender thing, but spaghetti, old style spaghetti Fender logo. Nothing else on the headstock. Really cool. I'm digging on the instrument initial vibe. He wants to put 8s on it. That's just this customer. We're going to swap out the pickups, but let's look in here first and see what we got. I'm going to try to get this all into one video, but I've had quite a few comments lately where I stopped doing 2-part and 3-part and 4-part series because, YouTube doesn't always put them up. Yep, just as I thought. A nice Fender. Wiring all looks really good. Interesting, it doesn't have a capacitor. It's got a tone bleed, and it's probably going to be a 100 volt. It's a 502 100 volt. CTS 250Ks. These are 2224s. Yep, these are all, that's all good gear. I'm not going to mess with that. I'm just going to put one screw back in because I know I'm going to be pulling that crap back out. We're going to de-string it right away. I'm going to almost guarantee you that it's got 9s on it, and he's going to 8s, so that shouldn't be a big deal. Point of interest, no, yes. Usually Mexicans are up here, but this one is down here. So they went even more with the 50s vibe because that's where it would be, right down in there. And we have brass saddles, and the rounded, completely rounded brass saddles. EA, DG, BE. Intonation, that's a grab bag with these old instruments or these throwback instruments. You get it really close. Usually the manufacturer gets that right, but there's a loose saddle screw right there. which means it's already all the way down. I don't know if the mic is picking up on that, but that saddle screw is loose. Yep, the low E is already loose. Let's just see where we're at as a beginning point for setup on this. Not that it will matter a whole lot because we are going to change the strings, but I got to know where I'm starting before we can move forward. Oh, it's way flat. I think he didn't even play the instrument. I think he took delivery and brought it right to me. And everything's really flat on it. Oh. Got it from an online outlet. Let's just get it close. I want to see where it's at. I can tell you the neck is a honking piece of wood. And I dig that. Where are we? It's super friggin' tight. Too tight. Which means when we put lighter strings on it, it's going to get even flatter. So yeah, we're going to be after that, but that's okay because we're going to have all this stuff off. I may be able to get in there and do it without removing the neck. If not, then we'll remove the neck and adjust that. It needs some relief in it. It's really, really, really too straight. And by eyeballing it, it's got just a little bit of relief in it, but not much. There's a little bit of buzz, but not much really, considering that it's really, really, really straight. Where's my Mr. Magoo eyes? Let's see where the string action is. Probably very low. Yeah. Yeah, really low. Yep, really low. 4/64 pretty close to 4/64 all the way across the radius. I'm going to tell you it's probably not going to bear that. I was getting a little buzzing 7th to 12th in the middle strings, but I know this player and he does kind of like low action, but he wants to go with lighter strings, and with that relief already too tight, it's probably going to get even tighter when we restring it. And I don't want to donate a set of strings. I may get in there and just give it one turn a little bit to the left, meaning loosening it and putting a little more relief in it, just to guess at it through experience. We'll see. So that kind of gets us where we're going to be. I don't care about string height, and I really, at this juncture, don't care about intonation because yeah, okay, so the low E is dead on. No, a little sharp. It's a little sharp. A is dead on. Boy, they got it really close. Oh, there you go. B is way out. Yeah. And when I say wait, all right, so the B, is dead on, the E is flat. Can't do anything about that. I might try to split the difference on that one. I digress. I'm going to pause while I get the strings off, and then we're going to get this opened up because, yeah, we have to change pickups in it, and before we get to setting up the guitar. And we're going to take the condom off and all that good stuff. So stand by. Okay, so we're back. We got the pick guard is ready to come off. I'm just going to set that aside. Point of interest, you will notice that there are no adjustment screws here to get your pickup height set. Now, I checked it before I took the strings off, and it is, believe it or not, it is set exactly where I would put it. And that is where you do that, down in there, by going closer or farther away. But the only way to do it is to actually remove the pick guard. I guess they didn't consider that as much a important adjustment, but there is a way to do it, and I will show you right now, because if I don't get to it or I do it off camera, so the right way to do it is you hold the string down and then you use your feeler gauge, which is 1/8 and 3/32. On the bass side, as if this were the string, it's just a straight edge on the fret, because you're going to hold the string at the last fret. You just put your 1/8 under there, and the same on the high E, and you put your 3/32 under there. And believe it or not, they have it exactly perfect. So when I put the new pickup in, that's how we're going to measure it. If it doesn't show on camera, at least you know how to do that. You follow? So pretty easy. We're going to do the easy one first on camera. And then this one is a little bit different. Oh, and by the way, they used flathead screws everywhere they could, except on the pick guard. Everything has flathead, including the pickup mounts and the bridge mounts and even the saddle mounts. Yeah, 50s throwback stuff. Seems to be what everybody wants lately. So I'm going to pull this out, desolder this pickup first. And our solder station is heating up. Let's see what happens. Now, I'm not gonna bring the camera down this time. And judging by the amount of video time I'm using up on this particular shoot, yeah, we're probably gonna have a part 2. So, black is right there. And where's my white? Oh, black and white, yeah. White goes to the switch, black goes to the back of the volume pot. Pretty basic stuff. I'm going to try to desolder this, which is always fun and tricky. Are we in the camera? Yeah, our work is right here. We're taking this lead off and this lead right here. That's our neck pickup. We've got some cloth covered and some plastic covered wires in here. I may, just because I don't want to undo a whole bunch of soldering on the back of that pot because it looks really nice and clean, I'm just going to cut off our ground. And I do that because if you overheat those pots too many times trying to desolder, not only that, you're going to undo 2 other grounds that are attached there. On the switch, it's not as important. And yeah, they did the hook through. I'm going to kill somebody at Fender. It's going to be hard to get that out. But let's see what happens. You tin your solder end, your solder iron. You heat up the glob. Try to bend that around and pull it through as best you can, because they like to put way too much lead and they hook it around. You don't need to do that. It is just not necessary. It is just not necessary. I got it out pretty easily without too much boogering around. Where's my other pickup lead? All the way over there. Yeah, this thing is wired up completely different than what I would do on a telly, but that's okay. We'll get it. We'll get it. Right there. I'm going to pause briefly while I get this out. Well, it actually won't take that much to get it out. Come on, you. Yeah, they got about five times too much screw in there. I wonder if there's just a pad of styrofoam under there, or is there actually springs? I can tell you back in the day they used rubber. Oh yeah, there it is. Little rubber pads for the screws. Come out of there. Getting it back through there is going to be fun, but that's all part of the job. Yeah, I'm going to reuse these rubber pads. They're basically in lieu of a spring. I would prefer a spring on there, but I'm going to reuse those. They're working fine. I'm going to pause briefly while I open this up and get the new pickup out. We'll fish it through there, wire it, and then this is a little bit different. Stand by. All right, we're back. We took the old pickup out. We put the new pickup in, and just to double check and make sure, because, you know, once you put the pick guard on there, you can't adjust the pickup height. Use a straight edge. Make sure your pickup, your neck pickup, is set in there properly. It's 1/8 on the bass side and 3/32 on the treble side, right? Just like I showed you before. They actually got that right. I put the new one in. Now that one's exactly where the other one was. I love it. Beautiful. Where are we going? We put the new pickup in. We soldered it to the three-way. Let's test it. And we put I had to actually make a new ground on the back of the volume pot, because I don't know what kind of solder they used, but it would not accept, it did not want to make a good joint. Don't know why. Don't care. I just scraped off a clean spot on the back of the pot, put a new puddle of solder, and attached the ground. So we should have, in the neck position, yep, in the middle position, yep, and tone, yep, we're golden. Now, the bridge pickup is a little bit more involved. We're going to take that out right now on camera. I think I'm going to just flip this over, get it tucked back in there, and put a screw in it, because I don't want it flopping around. I don't want it flopping around while I take out the bridge and the bridge pickup. They only go together, you know, the best way at the factory. After you take them apart and booger around with them, you got to kind of find a good place to put all the wires. We'll get there. But I'm I'm only doing this because if I have to, just to hold that in place, right? Flathead screws, 1, 2, 3, 4 in this case. And yeah, the saddles are going to be in the way. I love my job. I love my job. I love my job. You can take the time to try to mark where these are, but you got to do a setup on the guitar anyway, which includes intonation, which means where are these saddles going to live at the end of the day. So just eat it. These are not fun, I can tell you that. Because once you get, this one was easy, pretty basic, 2 screws. This one has 3 screws mounting the pickup in there, and I can tell you by looking at it, they didn't get it mounted in there right. It's tilted to the back. It needs to be nice and flat when you get done. I'm kind of curious what kind of mounting system they have on there, because some had springs, some had the little neoprene tubes. They're working with the throwback vibe. Maybe they did it the way it was way back when. I don't know. Don't know, don't care. Mine is not to wonder why. Mine is just a do or die. Sorry if I sound dismissive. Let's take a look. Now, our ground wire for the bridge should be here. Oh no. Originally these guitars would have had a ground wire popping out here somewhere. And what they have done, you clever bastards, is put the ground wire to that. I don't like that. That's not really throwback. There's our ground wire right there. Alright, so we're going to need to open this back up and pull whatever excess wire they're going to allow us to tilt this up and look at it. Which looks like these two right here. Yeah. So up in here there must be a ground wire. I mean, old school, there would have been a ground wire coming up through here to touch the back of the bridge, but there is none. And there is no drill point for a ground wire to come through. Yeah, that's not very throwback or vintage. I think they're trying to assume that the grounding that we have here in the cavity is enough. Maybe that's why I heard all that ground noise through the amp. Huh. Well, I am certainly not going to drill a hole through there and put a ground. That is not our function. Well, let's get the pickup off, see where we're at. We're coming up to the end of this video. I'm going to at least get this pickup out of the bridge and get ready to accept the new one. Maybe we'll just make a little bit extra long video here. I didn't want to do a two-parter, but I'm clearly going to have to because, yeah, it's going to take a hot minute to get this bridge out and the new one in. And that's going to be the end of this video. And of course, they're flatheads, which makes it even more of a pain in the ass. But you want throwback, that's what you get. I should have a flathead surcharge. Anything with a flathead screw on it, I charge $25 extra. Just to be a dick. Come out of there. There we go. So there is our bridge. And I'm going to keep that hole. There's our bridge pickup, right? And we're going to keep that hole. And right now, on camera, we're going to take it out. Just like we did the other one, I'm going to snip the ground wire and desolder the hot lead that goes to the three-way pickup. Does that make any sense? So there is our ground wire. Let's just snip that guy out of there. And probably when we go to put the new pickup in, I'm going to solder it to my new ground lead, my new ground joint on the back of the pot, the volume pot. Oh yeah, nice curled around. I think I can get that out of there. So you want to be a guitar tech. Alright, this is what you got to go through. Get out of there. Make sure your lug has enough solder in it to accept the new one. Follow. And that one pulled all the solder out of the lug. Just want to preload your lug. That way when you get ready to put the new pickup in, all you got to do is heat it up, push the wire through. If that makes any sense at all. All right. Bridge pickup out. I'm going to pause briefly. I just want to reassess what's going on here before I come back. I'm going to mount the new pickup in here and solder it in. When I come back, that should be all together. I also want to really pay a little bit of attention to why there isn't a ground wire. There really should be a ground wire coming from the cavity to the bridge to tie all the ground and the guitar together. But we'll see. Stand by. All right, so we're getting ready to. We have our bridge pickup mounted, and we have it measured for height, pre-measured. Let's 10 our outputs from the pickup. Get warm, get hot. Clean up any fuzzies that are going to stop you from getting a clean joint. Same thing, we're going to tin both of these leads. I'm going to cut off. This one actually looks pretty good. I'm going to leave that one because it's going to go to our new ground point. I hope my head isn't in the way too much while we're doing this. Remember, try to get a little bit extra on the ground lead. It's just going to help facilitate putting it where it wants to be, which is right there. And, oh, you're going to argue with me? Okay. That's okay. What it is about the grounds on this particular job, they're giving me a hard time, and they usually I have a way of doing this. tug will tell you if you have a good joint, which we do. All right, last lead. Onto our three-way switch. Just like so. Yep. And same rule applies. You just kind of give it a gentle tug. Make sure you're home, which we are. And we're back to tap testing. I love it when a plan comes together. Maybe I spoke too soon. I don't know. Where are we? All right, let's go to bridge. Tone. Yeah. Middle, which should be both. And tone. And of course our volume. Yeah, we're golden. I'm going to pause there. I'm going to make this an extra long video. I'm not going to make a second video. I'm going to pause. I'm going to get this thing put kind of back together and restring it, and we'll come back for the setup. Stand by. Okay, so as you can see, we're strung up. We cleaned up the bench a little bit too. Where we're at is checking our neck relief. By the way, yes, I did loosen that up slightly, and my experience with these Mexican necks is they're pretty much straight when they come from the factory, and there isn't a whole lot of put relief into it. I had to kind of force it, tighten it up, and then bring it back. I'm hoping I'm going to get somewhere around 12 or 10 thousandths capo at the first fret, and at the 7th we should be pretty close. It's a little tighter than I'd like, but I think we're going to be fine. Going with the throwback theme, that's the way these things were back then, and that's the way they kind of ship them. String height, I'm going to guess, before I get to that, when you're stringing these up, these type of saddles, they don't have any notches in them. So you can't just throw the strings on and expect them to land exactly where you want them. Be very, very mindful of where they go, especially across your poles on your bridge pickup. And don't be afraid to get a tool and measure, and make sure that they're within at least a ½ millimeter of each other, and that they look correct going across the board and, basically going across the pole pieces. That's important. You can't just throw them on there. It's not like a Les Paul where you throw it in there and there's already a valley in the saddle to hold that string into that slot on the saddle. These are smooth. Eventually they might wear their own little thing in there, but you can't just string them up and expect it to land exactly where it's supposed to be. It took a little bit of doing, but as I said, pay attention to your pole pieces on the bridge pickup, and make sure that if you're not 100% sure, eyeball. You want the same amount of distance from there and there on each side of the neck, and most importantly, make sure that they're spaced evenly or as close to even. A ½ millimeter isn't going to make a big difference, but if you get to a millimeter or over, where one string is farther away from the other, that's going to make a difference, and pay attention to that. So, I digress. let's see where our string height is, because we know that our neck relief is basically where it's going to be. I know it's going to be low, and it's way lower than I would allow. And I want to be above, not quite the 5/64 on a telly, but I definitely want to be above 4, and they're all at 4 or not even showing the 4/64 line. So I'm going to bring them all up one turn and then retune and measure. And that's just how I do it. It's not written in stone. It's not a law. You don't have to live and die by that. But you know, through experience, I kind of know where I want them to be, and I know where they're going to play the best. Every player is a little bit different, but too low is too low. It's what your instrument will bear. I'm going to go one whole turn, almost one whole turn on each one. And because we're bringing the saddles up, it's going to make our tuning sharp, of course. We're going to retune. They're all even. They're all pretty even, but they're all really low. And no, we're not going to go with that. So, tune to pitch. And yep, you can chase your tail for a long time doing this, getting it dialed in. But I'm pretty certain we're going to be close. I don't hear any errant buzzing, and that's always encouraging. In fact, every note is kind of ringing very crisp. And I like that. I'm not getting exact tune here. I just want to double check my string height. We are in the process of adjusting action string height. Yeah, this video is going a little long. Probably went a little too far on the low E, but A is standing tall. So I can tell you that the threading on the screws is not accurate. Now we're going to go down to doing each one individually. And I want to lower each one or raise it until I get it exactly where I want it. Too high. And this is where you're fine tuning. I don't want to see 5/64. I want it to be just below that. So I'm basically splitting the difference between 4 and 5/64. That one's too low altogether. And when you're raising them, go in small increments. Too low. Until you get to your happy spot. We all know what the happy spot is, where it plays the best. So I am not going to burn up because we're already a little long. I'm not. Oh, that one's perfect. No, just slightly a little too tall. I'm not going to burn up a whole bunch of video on this, getting the string height exact, because I still want to save just a bit for intonation. We know that we were boogering around with this stuff getting the bridge out. So I'm going to pause again briefly and come back. Oh no, never mind. Let's tune it up and see if those adjustments made it. And yeah, when you make an adjustment and then tune back up the pitch, the adjustment that you just made and were really happy with may not quite make it once you get it back up to tension. But usually once you get to the fine tuning point of it, it will be okay. We'll find out right now. I like that. Below 5/64s, same. Love it. Little too high. Little too tall. Yeah, fine tuning. Don't be afraid to spend a little extra time doing this. It's important. And 6 months from now, it's all going to change. But when the weather changes, I don't care where you live, when the weather changes, little honky-tonk woman for you. When the weather changes, yeah, the neck's going to change. Things change. Wood will do what it's going to do. Let's see how my pre-adjustment here made. Perfect. Perfecto. Perfecto. I love it. All right, intonation. This is where we might have to pause again. I know we're getting long in the tooth. Make sure you're up to pitch. The harmonic is perfect. Slightly sharp, not even an eighth of a cent. And all I did was guess at where to put these. Perfect. Dead on. I'm leaving that saddle right where it is. You'll never get these perfect. It's an imperfect design. Harmonic. Little flat. A little flat. I think we might need to check your G on the same saddle. Nope, you have to leave that. And when I say a little flat, it was not even measurable, and the human ear will never pick it off. And when I say a little sharp on the G, the human ear cannot pick it off, and you can't get it any closer than that with these type of saddles. It just is what it is. If you're going to err on the side of caution, go flat, because the human ear will pick off a sharp note quicker than it will pick off a slightly flat note, if that makes any sense. Harmonic on the B, perfect. Slightly flat, not even measurable. Man, I guessed it perfectly. Well, I paid attention when I unscrewed those and took the bridge off. I kind of knew where those saddles were. Manufacturers usually get this pretty close. You cannot get it perfect. You will chase your tail. And this G will never sound exactly like that G. Okay? Don't get in a twist over that stuff. The human ear can pick off sharp more than it can pick off flat. But I digress. It sounds good. strings are stretching. I did not stretch them at all. Sounds nice. Yeah. All right, we're going to call it there. We did a lot. We put in new pickups. Let's at least hear what the new pickups sound like, I guess, while we're here. All right. Make sure I got a chord. Neck. Bridge. Oh yeah, that sounds like a telly. Yeah, she's there. I think we're going to be good on this guitar. Again, and I say it over and over again, I'm not a guitar player. That's the only song I know the intro to. Right? I hope you guys catch that. Blackjack with 396 guitars. I know we went a little long in the tooth on this one, but we did quite a bit of work for a brand new guitar. I applaud the customer. The client wanted new pickups. He wanted to upgrade and get even more of that 50s vibe, which we did. I'm kind of digging on this guitar. It's really well made. It's got good build quality. It's got character. We'll talk soon.